Good morning and welcome back to Get Ready and Get Messy with Amory. Today we're going to do things a little bit different. Usually we talk about new pop culture topics every week, but this week we're going to talk about some old pop culture topics. Some of my favorite that I've just witnessed go down. The first one we're going to talk about is TanaCon. Second one we're going to talk about is the Jayz and Solange incident in the elevator. Third one we're going to talk about is Kendrick Lamar versus Drake feud. Now you should know the routine by now. I'm going to go brush my teeth, wash my face, and I'll be right back and we can get into some of these pop culture topics. I'm back. Teeth are brushed, face is washed. Now let's get this started with TanaCon. Some background. If you don't know who Tana Mojo is, she's a YouTuber. She's kind of known for like her story time videos. I've always watched Tana since I was probably a little too young. She's always been a very bold person, a little raunchy at times. That's what the fandom loves about her. In 2018, she announced that she was going to do her own little spin-off of VidCon called TanaCon. They would always like market her face on the event, but then they would like uninvite her or tell her she couldn't come anymore. She did this kind of like in retaliation. She scheduled this in Anaheim, California, right near VidCon on June 22nd through 23rd, which was exactly when VidCon was taking place. This was kind of to give like some of the other creators who weren't featured at VidCon kind of a place to go and a place to meet their fans and kind of to do like a fuck you to VidCon. This was being hosted like in a hotel ballroom, which was not designed at all for how many people were showing up. There were about 4,000 to 5,000 people inside, and people claim that there were 20,000 people outside. I do remember people kind of being like, I don't think it was 20,000. It's still kind of up in the air. People were waiting for hours in line. No food, no water, no sunscreen, nothing. People got like third-degree burns from standing outside for so long waiting. People were passed out. People were going to the hospital. Michael Weiss, who is the person who set this all up for Tana and told him that he was taking it into his hands, he was gonna plan it. He was riding around on a little Segway the whole time. If you know, you know. You've seen the little clips of him just like, grr. People were comparing this to the Fire Festival. I don't know if anyone's watched that documentary about that, but it was kind of same ordeal. Fire Festival was definitely a lot more intense. She did promise fans free tickets to get in, which obviously did not work. People did buy the VIP and like the actual tickets themselves. I completely forgot to get ready. Now, in retrospect, looking back, I feel like this is something that people can kind of look at and laugh a little bit, but I remember in the moment it was very serious. Tana did get canceled for this. Shane Dawson did a whole docu-series about TanaCon, which I do recommend watching because it is actually really good. It's very dramatic, but it's very good. Tana's obviously grown from this. And I mean, there were some big creators at the time going, like Shane Dawson was there, Colleen Ballinger, like there were a lot of creators that were there. And now for the interaction between Solange and Jay-Z. On May 5th, after the Met Gala after party, this happened in 2014 at the Standard Hotel in New York City. Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Solange went into an elevator together. There was footage leaked of Solange like physically assaulting Jay-Z. She like kicked him in like the stomach area. It quickly went viral because it's Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Solange. Like, no shit, that's gonna go viral. And people say that the reason that this interaction happened was because of Jay-Z's interaction with Rachel Roy. In the footage though, you can see Solange like lunging and kicking at Jay-Z, but Beyonce's not really doing anything. If you know, Jay-Z has not been a loyal man to Beyonce, which like, how could you not be a loyal man to Beyonce? Like, I really don't get it, especially when you look like Jay-Z, like, has fame and power, but like there's some other things that matter, and the fact that he looks busted and is treating her like that, I do not agree. I think Beyonce was just sitting back and letting her sister protect her, because I would probably do the same exact thing. They did issue a statement after this happened though, saying that they've moved forward as a family. It does not affect them. If you love Beyonce, you know her famous. Of course, sometimes goes down when there's $1 million on the elevator. I do wish I could know more about this night and everything that happened though, because I'm still very interested in this whole topic. Now we're gonna talk about the Drake and Kendrick Lamar feud. Their relationship started more friendly. Kendrick was an opener for Drake on one of his tours. However, Kendrick started kind of taking a different route in music than Drake was. Kendrick was more like critical of like fame and image and other people's image, whereas Drake kind of focused more on like a high profile lifestyle. This feud kind of began in 2024 when Kendrick was featured on Like That, which threw some shots at Drake. So then Drake drops a diss track in April called Push Ups, which was targeted at Kendrick Lamar. So then in May, Kendrick responds again with a few different tracks, one of those being Meet the Grams and Not Like Us, which everyone obviously knows, where he accuses Drake of some pretty serious allegations. This then led to Not Like Us being #1 on the Billboard's Hot 100, and Kendrick's diss tracks kind of surpassed Drake's. Drake did end up suing Universal Music Group for defamation of character. It was also a big moment because at the Super Bowl, Kendrick, of course, played Not Like Us. I think that was probably one of the biggest pop culture moments that's happened in this whole past year, if I'm gonna be completely honest. Well, that was it for our pop culture recap from over the past few years. Next week, I will be back with weekly pop culture topics rather than discussing some old previous ones. If you have anything that you want to talk about, please leave it down in the comments below. Always looking for new things to look into. I try and look for topics everywhere, but I feel like my algorithm kind of shrinks me down to a certain genre, so I would love to branch out and talk about some other things in pop culture. Please make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Both of those are Get Messy with Amory. Comment below what you want to talk about next week. Subscribe, of course, like this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see y'all next week on Get Ready and Get Messy with Amory.